What's up, party people? We're back with another short story by O'Connor and more books, of course, every week. I've got stacks here. Funny story, actually. I have a bin full of books that are, duplicates and books from friends and got textbooks and things I've accumulated over the last couple of years. And I took it into a bookstore in town and I was like, hey, what can you give me for these? He took maybe about half the stuff I had, and he was like, well, I can give you $70, or I can give you $125 in-store credit, which that's almost double, right? So you know which one I took, obviously. I didn't get it all at once. I still have about $40 credit, $45 credit, but I did get a fair amount. So, and then I also went and picked some stuff off Marketplace. So I do have a few stacks more down here for future weeks. But this week we're taking on some stuff that I bought before that, I guess. Anyways, and the main feature of the day is a guy called Evelyn Waugh. Now, I think that's how you say his name. I got a bunch of stuff by him. We'll go through it. Now, it looks like his name is spelled Waugh, because it has a GH at the end, right? Evelyn Waugh. But no, it's apparently pronounced Waugh. Silent GH at the end there. This guy, I think he was born late 19th or early 20th century. He was writing World War I, World War II time. He had a failed first marriage, converted to Catholicism, served in World War II, I believe, had 6 kids. So interesting, pretty normal sounding dude. Anyways, he wrote a bunch of books, and I don't know, I got some of them. I don't actually know how many he wrote. I think, how many did I get here? I got 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7, and I know I'm missing one for sure, because he has a trilogy, and I bought 2 of the books of the trilogy unknowingly and missed the 3rd one, so that's really unfortunate. But anyways, this is his first book, Decline and Fall. It's supposed to be funny, and the back cover, when it's summarizing the work, uses the word razzmatazz, so you know it's going to be really good. Kind of shorter. How many pages do we got here? 200. And the text is, the margins are big on the page, right? So shouldn't take too long to read that one. Then his second work here was this one here, I believe, Vile Bodies. This one's a pre-war novel. It's about, he likes to write satires. So I think this is a satire of all the rich young people that are partying after World War I, kind of making fun of high society. Now, I forgot to talk about what this book was about. This book's also a satire, The Decline and Fall. The title obviously referencing the history of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, as well as Spengler's The Decline of the West. So some influence on the title there. This one's about a guy who is an Oxford prof. I think Oxford prof, or maybe not, maybe just a student. Anyways, and he gets drunk at this all men's kind of social club, and has some indecent behavior, and then gets sent or expelled, I guess, out of Oxford, and then kind of just ends up in a prison, and kind of just, is up to regular guy mischief. Anyways, so his first book's both satires there. It's supposed to be funny. Next one, we've got A Handful of Dust, which is supposed to be about a lady who gets into an affair. Many such books written about that. So again, it's supposed to be funny. So we'll see. We'll see if he has the characteristic dry British humor, which I would expect. Next up, we've got The Loved One, which is about a guy in America who works as in a graveyard, I think, or as a mortician. Again, I think it's supposed to be funny. So this one's very short, though. This one's probably no more than 120 pages, yeah. At what point does a book become a novella? Good question. What's the cutoff? 150 pages? I don't know. Next one here, we've got Black Mischief. Now, if the cover had been different, I would not have assumed that the black in Black Mischief was referring to African people, but based on the cover, it looks like it is. So what is this about? I don't know. The back cover says it's about 2 cultures clashing. So, I mean, should be interesting. we might get some mild racism, which is always mildly entertaining. But we'll see. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's progressive. I don't even know. Anyways, and then the last two are the two of the trilogy that I didn't know was a trilogy, and then missed the third book, which he didn't even have at the bookstore, so I couldn't have bought it if I wanted to. But anyways, the trilogy starts with Men-at-Arms, and then it goes to Officers and Gentlemen, and then ends with Unconditional Surrender. So it's about the war, about a guy who serves in the war. Apparently he's like reflecting on the futility and severity and harshness of the war. I don't know. I don't really read a lot of war stuff, so maybe I'll put these lower down on the list. At this point, I'm not really too interested in war stuff, but who knows? I am a guy, so when I hit 30, maybe I'll just be super interested in like World War II tanks and stuff. But it hasn't hit me yet, so. Then I got two more here. I've got Proust's The Captive, which is part of his master series In Search of Lost Time, which I think is a 6 or 7 volume series. The Captive is 5th out of 7. So I didn't know when I bought this was part of Search of Lost Time. For some reason I thought Search of Lost Time was one book, but it's not. It's a long series of 7 books where he kind of reflects on his childhood experiences growing up in France. So this work would be translated, of course, from French. I also have Swan in Love, which I thought was a totally separate thing, but actually it's an extract from Swan's Way, which is the first book in the series. So I probably wouldn't have bought it if I knew it was an excerpt. I kind of want full books. I don't like abridged stuff or anything like that. So, anyways, yeah, interesting. I don't think I'll read it anytime soon, but it's very famous. So, obviously, one day I'll have to. And then the last one I've got here, super interesting, is Giovanni Boccaccio's The Decameron. And the reason this book is interesting is because it's from the early 14th century. It actually predates Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, and yet it follows the same structure, okay? So you have 10 people, 7 girls and 3 guys, that are kind of isolating from the bubonic plague, and they're in this villa on the edge of the town. I don't know what the town's called. Anyways, and they're telling stories to pass the time. And each person tells 10 stories for a total of 100, and yeah, just like a collection of short stories that I guess influenced Chaucer's Canterbury Tales, right? I read that a couple months ago. I really liked it, so really looking forward to reading this. Again, not sure when I'll get to that, but yeah, I like the concept. Oh, I'm getting pretty dark here. I'm losing the sun. It's setting. It sets so early here now. It's in Alberta. It's fall, obviously, so yeah, sun dies very early in the day. And then, of course, been trying to keep up the cadence, okay? Flannery O'Connor, I read the third one in the collection today, which is called Wildcat, which, incidentally, shares its title with the recent biopic of Flannery O'Connor by Ethan Hawke, starring his daughter Maya. So I haven't seen it. Mixed reviews, I think I've heard. So anyways, maybe I'll watch it when I finish all her short stories. I also have a couple other books by Flannery O'Connor. Maybe I'll read those first, too. I think I have something in Manners, Occasional Prose, something like that. And then I have Wise Blood. So I'm looking forward to reading those too. Her prose is so good, I love it. Anyways, the Wildcat is about this old guy named Gabriel, and it's from the perspective of a bunch of Southern blacks. So the prose, like the nothing is spelled right. It's kind of like I don't even know what you would call the accent, like a Southern drawl, but not really a drawl. It has a name. I don't know what it's called. Anyways, the spelling kind of matches the accent anyways, so it's kind of fun to read in that sense. And it's in this short stories in 3 parts. You have like current day, flashback, current day. So the first section, his sons and their friends are going out to hunt a wildcat that's kind of been killing cows in the area, and he's kind of warning them, like the wildcat, it's not out in the forest, it's going to come here. And then they don't listen to him, they go out hunting. He has a flashback, part 2, about when he was a kid. Oh, I should mention, old Gabriel's blind. He's been blind since he was born. So he can't go out. If he wants to go out to hunt with his kids, but he can't because he's blind. And the kids think he'll just be a hindrance, right? I don't know if you can hear that car going by with no muffler. Probably my younger brother. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, so he's blind. Then he flashes back to his childhood, also blind, and so the flashback is when another wildcat, obviously a different one, this is like 60 years, 70 years before that, is terrorizing his town, and all the women get put into a house to stay safe, and he gets put with the women, and he doesn't like that too much. It's kind of like emasculating for him, right? He feels like he should be out there hunting too, but he's just a young boy and he's blind, so he can't really help. So he does some reflecting on, you know, I'm stuck up in this house with the women. I don't want to be here. And fear plays a big role in this book as well. Like he claims that he can smell the wildcat because obviously he's blind, he can't see it, so he's relying on other senses. And he says, "Oh, I can smell it. It's coming. It's not going to be here. It's getting closer and closer." So smell is plays a big role in driving his fear, because he thinks he can smell it getting closer and closer. And then in the flashback, the wildcat jumps into a different house and kills an old guy, and all the women kind of go crazy. You know, some guy got killed, right? I mean, rightfully so, I guess. And then it jumps back to current day, so the third section. He kind of has like a little bit of a not a mental breakdown, but kind of just has like a panic attack kind of, where he's like, oh, the wildcat's getting closer and closer. He can hear it in the chimney, and then realizes it's just the bats. And then he can hear it sniffing out of the door, but it's just a cow. And then the wildcat, it is within pretty close to his house. So there's kind of some ambiguity whether or not his smelling the wildcat's just paranoia, or if he actually can smell it, because the wildcat does come pretty close to his house and does kill a cow, which he discovers in the morning, or is confirmed in the morning. His sons don't catch the wildcat. They come back in the morning and they kind of they say, oh, well, we're going to set a trap, we're going to catch it next time. And he's like, no, it's going to come here next. So that's kind of how it ends. Again, sort of like Flannery O'Connor's like Philip Dick, right? It never really ends on a distinct note, kind of just puts you in the middle of the story and it ends before anything really happens. Kind of just giving you like a glimpse or like a window into this person's life. Yeah, and I think in this one, I think she's primarily reflecting upon themes of fear and masculinity and what that means, because the flashback we get at the beginning of the boy's life, or beginning of Gabriel's life, right, when he's just young, and at the end of his life when he's basically very senile. And in both cases he's blind, right? But he has this like cavalier sense where I'm going to kill the wildcat, but he's blind and he's old. He's not going to kill the wildcat. And in the flashback, he's like, what, 10? He's not going to kill it, right? But he has this cavalier sense about him that he's going to. But at the same time, this cavalier attitude about killing the wildcat is juxtaposed against his fear that the wildcat's getting closer and closer, right? If somebody like is truly, I guess, like cavalier and masculine, they would not be too afraid that the wildcat's coming. Like, oh, I'm just going to kill it, like no big deal, right? So his confidence is kind of juxtaposed against his fear that I can smell it getting closer and closer. So he, in a sense, he's like helpless, I guess, and maybe Flannery O'Connor is kind of showing us how somebody can kind of perform the mental gymnastics of like retaining their masculinity while being essentially non-masculine, like helpless and fearful, which is interesting. So yeah, again, she's too subtle to moralize directly or give us like a clear takeaway. But yeah, it was interesting. I liked it. So that was called Wildcat. Again, this was a bit shorter, maybe 6 pages. So yeah, really good. Anyways, I'm losing so much light here. I'm going to sign off. But thanks for tuning in. Bit shorter video today, no worries. Got tons of stacks of books, so we'll check in again with you next week. Okay, see ya.